What's going on? This is Skylar over at Culture Shock Clothing and Records. Welcome to Vinyl Happy Hour. We are going to discuss on this episode a Record Store Day Part 3 wrap-up, the big picks that I got, the 5 picks that we got, and then there's 5 non-Record Store Day releases that you might have missed out on that dropped. And today we've got 5 more new releases and some indie store exclusives to show off. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. I swear, I didn't know this year was going to be such a crazy year for releases. There's so much good stuff. I've got some local whiskey here. And for Record Store Day, you may not have known because there was some last minute drops. We actually had some local bands do some Record Store Day releases that were exclusive to Culture Shock. First one we're going to talk about is our very own Culture Shock exclusive Sickhorse. This band released their CD. The only physical way to get it is the Culture Shock exclusive. It is streaming also. You can find Sickhorse online. And this one actually has a few demo tracks on it too, which are only available on the CD. You can't find those online. There's 100 copies, all hand numbered. These are available at cultureshockshop.com. Sickhorse, these guys have been in multiple bands over the years. This is definitely a little bit more of a toned down. I kind of think of it almost as like a downer folk sound. It was recorded in Nashville, so it does have a little bit of a folky country or background to their indie rock. But there's definitely some serious subjects here that are being undertaken, but there's also kind of like some dark humor to it. You know, they're Rockford guys for sure, and I see their Rockford dark humor coming out in some of those songs. So we do have those left. I do want to check those out. Another one that was kind of like a surprise drop release, super duper special one, and the band is not mentioned anywhere on the jacket, the album, or anything. This is the local band Glitter. These dudes are tons of fun. Jordan and Ben, they love to, obviously, they're connoisseurs of dressing up as well. Their live shows, tons of fun. Of course, we miss seeing these guys live. Their new album, they've been working on for a while. I've heard it was in the mix. I didn't know we were getting any. And Rockford Record Company got 5 copies to us on super duper clear vinyl. So that's cool. These guys are a ton of fun. They consider themselves like dance punk, I think. There's definitely a lot of pre-recorded and electronics and drums that they play with. But it's actually, the album is really great sounding, great production quality. We were just listening to it. It's just a good, fun, kind of electro pop punk sound. Definitely check it out. These were hand numbered of 5 copies. They are sold out, but I believe we will be getting more, probably black vinyl or other versions of that in the future. That was just a Record Store Day exclusive. So those were the local pieces we had for the Rockford area. Now I'm going to talk about a couple pickups that I got. One of my big picks was Asking Alexandria, Stand Up and Scream. These guys were big in the early days of, like, let's say more MySpace metalcore scene, but they were pretty wicked brutal. They did this 10-year anniversary of this album on black and silver splatter vinyl. Came with an insert. That was a good metal piece. My next pick was a hip-hop piece. I don't know if you even want to call this hip-hop. City Morgue, I could see them, you know, if you haven't heard them yet, if you're a fan of anything from, let's say, Slipknot to Denzel Curry or something, you would be into them because it's like a very kind of screamy, beat-driven, heavy hip-hop. It's kind of aggressive hip-hop. City Morgue, as good as it gets. This is Volume 2, As Good as Dead. That was a cool release. We actually still have some of these left, too. Not everything sold out for the Record Store Day releases. A lot of things did, of course, which is going to bring me to my next sad. There's an empty space here. I was going to show off 5 releases we got. For my 5th release, I'm actually using my wife Lauren's pick as my release because I really wanted the Clutch box set. It was a cool-looking box set, and I didn't snag it. I figured we'd leave it out for customers and people who are diehards to get, and I kind of slept on it. And it was like 12 albums, including some live stuff. It's like $275 or something in his cloth-bound box. I probably should have gotten one. I didn't, and I actually hardly have any of those Clutch albums. I have the first couple, but instead we got the Virgin Suicide soundtrack. This is Sofia Coppola movie. If you haven't seen it, really great, probably 99 or so movie. They put this soundtrack out on like this pink splatter vinyl. There's some classic tracks here from both Hart and Todd Rundgren. One of my big key takeaways from this was the band Air. I believe like a French kind of electronic artist. Great sounding album though. I mean, I think some people, I hear some in the community of people talking about color vinyl or splatter vinyl not sounding good. It's very possible there could have been a piece of wax pressed by a certain label or band that sounded bad. That happens for black vinyl too, but this sounds impeccable. I mean, this sounds really good. It's a great sound, so don't steer away from that. I'm pretty sure we're sold out of that one, but I just had to show off my picks. Record Store Day did a great job this year. There was releases out over 3 different months. They spread it out. But since there was so much action and Record Store Day got pushed so far back, you might have missed some of the other releases that have been coming out here in the last couple of weeks, including this one. This is obviously it's Halloween time on us. The Rocky Horror Picture Show 45th anniversary. I can't believe that movie's that old. Soundtrack, and they did a picture disc. They did a really great job with some artwork I haven't seen on other Rocky Horror Picture albums. And I love on the back because it has a little sticker that shows the track listing. As if you don't know every song in order already. How many times have you heard this thing? I mean, this is just like Christmas songs or the Happy Birthday song or whatever, your favorite album. It's like you know the songs, it seems like, already. So if you don't have it on vinyl already, they did this anniversary edition. We do have some, I think, red vinyl copies left in the store too. But this came out like the day before Record Store Day, I think, last week. So in case you missed it, that was out. Here's another one that got released. Juice WRLD, Legends Never Die. And this is true for him. I mean, he's kind of become a legend in the hip-hop community. Sadly, this is in memory of him. It's got a little quote in there. He died way too early. He was in his early 20s here a couple years ago when he passed away. This album dropped kind of at the beginning of quarantine digitally only. And there's features on there from The Weeknd and Halsey and Marshmello and Trippie Redd and a bunch of other cool rappers that had worked with him on this. And this had been, of course, started and worked on before he died. I wouldn't be able to tell that this was put out after he died, though. It sounds like a complete legit album. It's actually a double LP, surprisingly. There's a lot of tracks on it. Vinyl quality sounds great. I mean, it's got an insert. It's just black vinyl. Just such a great album. Of the modern, let's say, like, this whole emo rap, mumble rap scene or something, he's definitely a wordsmith and has stepped above a lot of those other artists who came out of that kind of crowd. Definitely worth checking out. I think it's his third full length. He might have had some other mixtapes and stuff like that. But that dropped. You might not have realized since it came out months ago streaming that they actually pressed it to vinyl. And I'm sure that is going to be sold out soon. The guys in Gorillaz, they did this really interesting thing. This is their Song Machine Season 1. During quarantine, they've been working with tons of other artists, and they actually gave us an indie store exclusive. So this is on orange vinyl. They worked with Robert Smith from The Cure. The first track on there sounds like a Lost Cure song. It's got the Gorillaz vibe to it, of course. They also worked with Schoolboy Q, Elton John. The variety of people they worked with on this is pretty amazing. But this is a pretty large band to do an exclusive limited version only to independent record stores like Culture Shock. So it was pretty cool that they did that. We also did a deluxe box set of the album that comes with a book, and the artwork is probably insane. I don't have an open copy of that, but I just had to show that off. You may not have realized that came out too. Freddie Gibbs had a release that had came out on Record Store Day, but also, since Record Store Day got pushed so far back, his regular album, Freddie Gibbs with the Alchemist, this is Alfredo, this dropped also. I got a copy for myself. He's just a really good hip-hop artist. There was some features with Tyler, the Creator, Benny the Butcher, a few other hip-hop artists. Just on black vinyl, that's the only way it was available. Some more. There's been a lot of good hip-hop, too. Run the Jewels, I don't know if anyone noticed, but that had come out months ago, also streaming, but last month it did drop on vinyl. And I just had to show off that they did a really cool indie store exclusive. It's pink inside of clear vinyl. So cool. These guys also, they've always been a proponent of people being treated fairly and stuff like that. So there's definitely a good message in this, but these guys love to have fun too. And the samples, the vocals, everything they cut, mixed with current, subjects is just a really great album. This is R2J4, Run the Jewels 4. Definitely worth checking out. So that's just a couple of things that you might have missed that have been coming out around Record Store Day. Again, Black Friday's coming up. November 27th, Record Store Day is going to be dropping some other releases. And I believe last year, this is kind of like the Clutch story, a lot of people didn't get the Crow soundtrack. That was a Record Store Day release last year. I don't remember even if it was Record Store Day or Black Friday. But this is a Rocktober release. So that was like on black and white swirl vinyl. The Crow soundtrack kind of changed my life. I mean, this was mid-90s, right when I started getting into more like grunge industrial metal. They have songs on here from The Cure, STP, Stone Temple Pilots, Nine Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, Helmet, Pantera. I mean, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Jesus and Mary Chain. That might have been the first time I ever heard of those bands. And there's a couple more underground ones too, like Medicine. But this is already sold out. We do have some copies, so obviously the record store day version sold out. Like when we opened that morning last year, sold out. This is the Rocktober release, which is Rhino Records doing. Oh, shut up. This is like Rhino Records doing a Rocktober release. This is what's interesting. That's on black vinyl, but the fourth side is has an image of the crow. Lauren, can you see that on the camera there? So there is an etching on the fourth side of Brandon Lee's crow, like tattoo, the crow. So really interesting. That's going to be really rare again. I think it's going to sell out right away. This is the kind of stuff we want to keep you updated while we're doing Vinyl Happy Hour, so you know some of the releases that are coming out, special versions, things like that. If you want to keep up with us, I have to remind you, you should please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Culture Shock Clothing and Records, if you haven't, and watch our other Vinyl Happy Hours. We would love to get some likes and comments from you. And find us on social media, too. We're always putting updates on there about what's coming in. A lot of records are limited, like this one. This is, let me make sure I'm saying his name right. Matt Berning? It must be Berninger? What do you think? Matt Berninger? Berninger, I'm going to say. This is a new album from Matt Berninger. This is Serpentine Prison. And I actually, you know what? This isn't out today. This was actually out a while back. But I'm just going to show it off today because we actually just got some more copies in at the store. This is the singer from The National. They did 2,500 copies of this album on like sea blue or something. I don't know what they want to call it, but you can see it's like a translucent blue of some sort, like it's translucent sea blue. Funny thing, when I went to play it, I was like, what the heck? That's side B. Oh, that's side B. It's just got the B for his Berninger name. It is also labeled A and B. But this is an indie store exclusive. He's got a very dark vocal sound. If you're not already familiar with the band The National, this is as good as anything from The National that he's done with his band. This solo work, I actually saw him, I think on Stephen Colbert or something the other night. I was like, oh, what is this, The National? I didn't even realize he was putting out a solo album. Nice jacket, nice gatefold, nice piece of vinyl, great sounding record, kind of dark and sparse. In a way, though, it has like this kind of rhythmic beat going to it also. It's just a really enticing record. I think it's really nice to chill at home, listen to alone. It's perfect for that kind of a sound. But in an eerie way, too, like his vocals are so deep anyway and has so much emotion to it. It gives me almost like maybe something from like the Cramps or Nick Cave or something. It's got like this older kind of post-punk vibe in a way. I don't know what to call it. It's just a great indie rock album. And obviously, The National hasn't put out anything new for a little bit, so this is definitely a good hold me over. Oh, I know something else. Some of this songs on this album gave me a little bit of that Jeff Tweedy vibe too, the singer from Wilco, which I'm a huge fan of. Now to go in a full 180, there is another release that just came out. I wasn't sure if we'd get many because I didn't know how it was going to sell out. Mr. Bungle. Oh my God. What a crazy band. I love this band. So this is something I didn't even know about. This is Mr. Bungle, which a lot of people probably know Mike Patton of Faith No More. This is his other band. They're a Northern California band formed in the 80s, later 80s. Kind of funky jazz metal mixture of stuff. They're kind of all over the place. So prog metal, jazz metal, fusion rock with sometimes throw in some rockabilly or something weird. They're just kind of experimental. They're definitely experimental. So this is Clear with Blood Red Splatter. This is an indie store exclusive. You've got to check this out. This is the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo. I didn't even know about this album. I wasn't sure what this was. I thought it was like a new album, and it kind of is. So it's on this splattery clear red vinyl double LP. This was a demo tape that they recorded in 85, I guess. So they've actually re-recorded it now, this year, with original members of Mr. Bungle and Scott Ian from Anthrax playing guitar on it, and Dave Lombardo, the drummer from Slayer. This is not like the other Mr. Bungle albums at all. This is straight up death metal. This is technical, quick, crazy, thrashy death metal. And the sound quality is impeccable. So when I heard it, I played it, I was like, what? I thought this was from 85 when they were in high school. I was like, damn, this sounds good. And then I read up on it and figured out what happened. It's current. They re-recorded it. So these are the songs that they had made in 85 as teenagers. And I think they got to probably do one of the most epic things they could do, which is now they have studio money and probably way more experience, better gear, better equipment. I've never heard the demo tape. I'm gonna look it up maybe if I can. It's probably extremely rare. But this sounds killer. This is such good sounding music. The vocals are still all over the place, of course, like that. But yeah, it's just double LP. They actually, so this is like the US like indie exclusive retail store version. There's also a ruby red or clear red vinyl version. We have both versions. Double LP. Comes with a download too, which is nice. Because I don't know if it'll all be streaming or not, but just a great release. Nice jacket, not a gatefold or anything. But it is kind of like, what do you call this, spot color print, where it's kind of real glossy. You can see it's very like metallic and fresh ink looking. But yeah, that is Mr. Bungle. And when I saw the name of the album, which is of course The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo, I thought it was going to be demo material. I forgot, because we had so much going on this year between Record Store Day and things like that. And I swear, there's so many releases at Record Store Day. I was like, oh, we're not going to order much or get a lot of stuff in after Record Store Day at the store. I was like, no, we've had a lot going on, but I was mistaken. We've actually, like today, we had one of our biggest releases ever. We had so many boxes of records coming in the week after Record Store Day. And I was just like, between new vinyl and reissues, indie store exclusives, there's just a lot of good stuff. And we have to keep up with that. And we want to make sure that you are able to find what you're looking for. And a lot of the stuff sells out. So we want to be on top of it. Here's another one that takes me way back to the 90s. The Flaming Lips. You get this right. Transmissions from the Satellite Heart, featuring the absolute sounds of the Flaming Lips. This is my introduction to Flaming Lips, as I'm sure a lot of you it was. Of course, you've got Turn It On. Just so many songs. She Don't Use Jelly was the one that I'll always remember. Like, I was thinking it was so weird when I first heard it, but somehow grew on me, like, right away. They were such an odd band. And that's kind of a little more into my grunge phase by the time I'd heard of them. And they actually fit with that kind of grunge sound. So this is like a limited reissue of their album from early 90s on ash gray vinyl. I'm not sure why it's coming out even. I don't know if it's an anniversary release or something like that. I don't think so. I think it came out in 93. It's just nice to see them doing a reissue of this album. It hasn't been around for a while. And they did it on kind of an album color that matches the jacket. It's kind of this ash gray. Sounds great. Again, really great quality sound. I haven't heard this album in a while, so it's kind of just a fresh take. Be like, hey, I don't really have this one sitting around in my collection. Well, I kind of do, because I already have the Flaming Lips box set. But I might even pull it out of my box set and put this one in instead. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna get this color vinyl copy, one of my favorite Flaming Lips albums. So that was cool. And then final one I just want to touch on. This is a new release, let's say, but it's not new material per se, from Mastodon. This is it's called Medium Rarities. So you've got unreleased tracks and a few live tracks and even some instrumentals on pink vinyl. Mastodon, this is another band. I really get into a lot of stoner doom. This is kind of that sludgy stoner doom sound. They haven't done anything wrong. Like every album, every song I've ever heard from them, I really enjoy. So I was really happy to pick this up. It's a double LP. Their artwork is always great too. And it says it's on pink vinyl. I'm gonna say, since this is called Medium Rarities, I think they should have said the name of the color should have been medium rare pink vinyl. I mean, maybe they don't want any more association with meat or something like that. I'm not sure. But that's what they consider pink vinyl, and I've seen a lot of pink vinyl that looks different colors. Double LP, great artwork, great tracks. Again, I would say it sounds as good as any of their proper releases, and there's a bunch of some rare tracks I've never heard on here. The live ones too. A band that is a great live show, a very loud live show. So their live recordings have a lot of energy to them. For a band that's downer, sludgy, stoner, and doom, I guess you can call it. As lively as you can get for that. But that pretty much concludes this week's Vinyl Happy Hour. Every week we're putting out something new. Of course, new releases coming in. To any of the releases that we have available or still have available, you can check the link to cultureshockshop.com. If you don't live here, or even if you do, you can choose in-store pickup or choose shipping. We'll ship these guys out to you. We also have a section put together for our Record Store Day releases, and very soon, Black Friday will be happening 2020. Again, like I said, make sure you subscribe to our channel, check our social media pages for updates, and we'd love to hear your comments too on some upcoming things or anything you have note on in this episode. Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.